The old ones, you see the crack starting there. So this one is just starting to go. So it was caught right in time. Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and this is actually a requested video. This is an XJR, has a supercharged Jaguar V8 4-liter, and the early V8s, well, the upper timing chain tensioners go on them, and sometimes the other ones as well. We'll get into that a little bit later. And I asked you guys about a question in the community tab, a little vote. Do you guys want to see a video on replacing the upper timing chain tensioners? Even though it's been done before in a lot of videos, you guys said yes. So we're doing that. I've almost done with one side, so I can show you what that looks like. Then I'll do the other side with you guys. It's pretty straightforward. You can definitely do this over a weekend by yourself, and it's not too bad. However, there are just a couple small tricks that makes life a little bit easier. One fun thing is I have removed the old one on one side, and it's cracked. It's gonna be fun to see if this one's cracked as well. So what happens is the plastic cracks on them, then it jumps time, and then yeah, there you go. If you want to see the beginning part of this, how to remove the cam covers and all that, I'll try and remember to link the previous video below where I showed you how to get in there and how to check these to see if they've been done or not, because most of these, the tensioners have been done, because most owners know about it and most owners know it's important to do. So if you have a car and it's not documented, you can check. I would definitely have that as a haggling thing. If there's no documentation that's been done on a car that you're buying, definitely haggle some off the price to see what it costs to do it locally, either that you do it yourself with parts or for a shop to do it, because it needs to be done on these engines. Here's one side almost done. I have the pin left to pull here, and I just need to torque these caps down. But a brief, just 30-second, or not even that, explanation of how it's done before I show you on the other side is remove cam cover. You slacken off these caps and remove them, keep them in correct order. Use some zip ties to hold this chain onto the sprocket, lift up the camshaft a little bit. You get enough space to get the tensioner out of there, put the new one in, torque all together, and then you pull the pin. So the new ones, they look like this, all nice and aluminum, and the old ones, you see the crack starting there. So this one is just starting to go, so it was caught right in time. But let me button up this side a bit, and then the other side, I'm just going to remove the air filter housing, the ducting here, the cam cover, and then I'll show you guys the process. All right, this cam cover is off now, and as you can see, that is the original tensioner in there as well. Other thing I noticed was there was a little bit of wetness on this coil right there, so that's been leaking over there, but we're replacing all those seals anyways because they come in a kit with the cam cover gaskets, so that's not a problem. But I'm going to try and soak up that oil in there. So next step is I'm going to set you guys up in the sand. Like I said, it's loosening these up. Make sure you keep them in order, so you put them back, and then before that I'm going to put zip ties in here, but I'll show you all that. Lock this into place, and then it's just a matter of removing the tensioner. If you want, you can try and turn over the engine a bit just to make sure that not too many lobes are being pushed down. Now it's just these are on the way of being pushed down, not fully down. So we should be fine to be able to get that back into place. But if you have, let's say, a lot of them pushing down, you might want to just run the engine over a little bit to make sure that's not an issue. I am just putting a zip tie in here on the secondary chain. That's just to hold it all into place. So there is a hole, and then there's one more down there. See if I can get that one as well. This is just a bit of a precaution and an easy DIY thing to do. And if you do this quickly and carefully, you will not disturb anything. I do still recommend when you're done that you bar the engine over. Same thing with doing anything. Make sure it bars over nicely and nothing happens. So there's the seal. I'm gonna replace all those. Now you have the caps there, cam caps. So I'm gonna remove them in order, but I'm going to slacken them off going from the outside in. They're 8mm. Oh, they're tight. Get a little bit of a bar. Almost beat you guys there. Sorry. You guys are really close. It's a little bit in the way filming, but what are you gonna do? There we go. It's a bit tight, but it's weird because they're not torqued very much at all. Like about 10 Newton meters, something like that. We'll go through torque figures later. But when you take them off, they do really make an odd noise. This is definitely a job I think you can do if you've ever done some small engine work and things. This isn't too bad. There we go. They're all pretty much finger tight right now. We can loosen this one up a little bit as well. Kit I have comes with new bolts. They're a little bit shorter. Your kit might be different, but that is something to think about. So what I'm going to do here is I will remove these and keep them in order on a piece of cardboard so that they come back in the same location. Overall, these V8s are pretty nice to work on. They're pretty well thought out. I mean, this is their only big weakness, but not they're pretty good. The only thing is, I think exhaust studs and bolts and things do tend to want to snap on these. Same thing with these sort of Ford era Jags. Any of like the suspension bolts and things like that, if they've had any salt on them, they can be quite difficult to get off. But here's what these look like. So I'm going to lay them all down in a container over here in the correct order so I don't lose track of them. I'll just remove the last of these up to there, and then I'll show you what I do with the camshaft. Just moving a little bit in order to get that tensioner out. With all the caps removed, you can loosen up the bolts for the tensioner. I've just left a rag down there. It's just in case you drop something. But be careful and slow with all of this and you should be fine. Because I don't need these bolts anymore because my kit comes with new ones, which are a little bit shorter. The other side was cracked, so I wonder if this one is as well. There we go. That tensioner is technically loose now. So what you're going to do is lift up this camshaft a little bit. See if you can do it by hand, otherwise you might need to pry on it a tiny bit. No, tiny bit. Be very careful because everything around here is aluminum, but this one is quite stuck. There we go, it's coming. A little bit here as well. There we go. Doesn't take much. And if you're worried about making any marks, pry in here, because this is not a sealing surface. This is. And you see the tensioner wants to pop out. And trick is doing this and trying to film it at the same time. There we go. Don't fall apart. Don't fall apart. Yeah, you gotta catch the bottom half of the tensioner. There we go. So you don't want that to fall out. And that is cracked as well. So that's the only real tricky thing. You don't want this falling out. So that's basically what happens. That cracks. This goes out, and you're screwed. This is the new tensioner. It has a pin that you pull, and you can notice which side goes on which, because you see it only fits one way with that oil feed line there. So that's how it should bolt in. Let us see if we can snake this into here without too much difficulty. There we go. So it is doable, but it is a little bit on the tight side. That's in. That all lines up. I'll put in the new bolts. And like I said, the Loctite thing it's optional. It's just, I think it's a good idea. It's definitely not going to hurt anything. And you will initially just snug it down, then of course we'll torque it later, but just want to snug it down so it doesn't go anywhere. And then we can put the cam caps back on. And once they are back on, I'm trying to find the correct tool, we can start torquing everything down. That's all snugged down, and like I said before, I didn't mean that you can't completely pull it down with these. It's just put your hand and press on at the same time and just make sure it's not going tight, not cross-threading, anything like that. Now the torque figures for these are, the tensioner is 10 to 14 Newton meters, so see it's not much. And these, the caps are between 9 and 11. So torque wrenches aren't that exact. So I set it to 10. I think that works fine for everything. And these will torque from the inside out. As you see, it is not much. So I'm going to go through and torque them all, and then I'll come back and do them all one more time, just to make sure it's fine. And we'll do these as well. Last but not least, the rearmost cap here. If that wasn't even, one bolt wasn't really snug down there. Let's see. Now I'm just going to double check all of them. There we go. Now it's time to pull that little pin. And chain is tight and tensioned. Now we cut the zip ties here, and that's pretty much it. Now you just need to clean up this surface. Most kits come with new gaskets, otherwise buy new gaskets. And just put that all together. I'm going to clean up the oil in there, just clean up these surfaces. We put it all back together, and then we're ready to bar the engine over and then ready to fire it back up. It's all back together with new gaskets and everything. Intake's back on, airbox, everything is connected up, I believe. So I'm going to connect up the battery now, see if it fires into life, and hopefully everything's nice and quiet. Let us see. And yeah, up and running, built oil pressure, and that's just a belt tensioner. That is everything. Nice, no weird sounds, nothing like that. That slight squealing is a belt or belt tensioner up front. But up and running. I'll do some small traction control things, probably just from the batteries being off. So I'm gonna go in and clear the codes, and we probably should be good to go. Alright, sun's really bright out here, but I've gone for a bit of a test drive, and everything seems to be in order. It runs well, revs nicely. These supercharged are great. I absolutely love these engine state. I mean, they're nice and quiet at idle, and then when you put your foot down and supercharge whine, that's amazing. But yeah, as you saw, pretty straightforward job. Something you definitely can do at home, and one of those things that you have to do on these engines if it hasn't been done. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Until next time, I'm Adam. This is Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.